taking off the gloves. I've had enough, it's in my blood. I was born for this.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert Camo, the Fantasy Football Counselor. Big episode. We're talking bust or trust. 5 running backs I've got right here laid out. Are they going to bust, or should we trust them for Fantasy Football 2021? Now, as I went through this list, I was looking at them. I'm like, man, I'm curious for myself. I didn't know whether I, could trust them this year, or are they going to bust? So I wanted to dive in. I got 5 pretty popular names that you may want to hear about, and you really want to know if you think they're going to bust or should you trust them for this year. Big episode, guys. Before we get into this, guys, head on over to manscaped.com. Guys, I'm telling you, amazing product. You're going to absolutely love it. You can trim around and navigate through those sensitive areas with this nice light and not worry about nicks and cuts. And I'm telling you, they got amazing grooming products. This is the Lawnmower 3.0. Great product. They've also got the Weed Whacker for your nose hairs. You want to stay groomed, guys, whether you're married, whether you're going out on dates. I know the world's been crazy, but things are going to be opening up. A lot of places opening up already. So if you're going out on dates, you want to look good. So I'm going to take care of you guys. Manscaped.com. Use promo code SHOWERLION to save yourself 20%. Head on over there right now. But remember, use that promo code SHOWERLION. It's going to save you guys some money on some purchases at manscaped.com. Head on over there, guys. You'll be absolutely happy with your purchase. Use promo code SHOWERLION. Save some money, okay? Also, 16-round draft solution is out. Linked it below, guys. Get it for the lowest price of the season. Draft kits are dead. If you're getting a draft kit, you might as well be making phone calls regularly out of a payphone and scrap your cell phone. That's pretty much what you're doing. Draft kits are dead, guys. It's an old technology. Fantasy football has evolved. 16 rounds, the first ever and only video training. All the optimal players, sleepers, breakouts. I touch into Dynasty a little bit into auction. Everything is there to help you guys crush your league. 16-round draft solution at thefantasyfootballaccounts.com or linked it below. All right, let's dive into this, guys. First running back here. Do we trust him, or is he going to be a bust? Bust or trust? First guy here. Now, this is tough. Believe me, this is tough. And again, I wanted to pick running backs that I felt like, I had to question it myself. So the first guy here is Dalvin Cook. Now, Dalvin Cook has never finished a season, but I'm going to give him last year. I think he missed 1 game or so, but this guy finished second last year with 337 points. Now, he's currently sitting 4th in PPR amongst running backs. So this guy's going to be a top 5, top 6, top 7 pick at the max. Like, I don't see him getting past the 6th, 7th pick. People are going to get him. Understandably so for a guy who, 312 attempts, who gets a lot of volume. So that's a really good thing, okay? 16 touchdowns last year, yet another Cinderella season. So the question comes to me, and one of my biggest knocks of Dalvin Cook is that he had never finished a season. Again, I'm going to give him, last year as finishing it and doing pretty well all the way through. He had a bit of a tweak there. I think it was a hamstring or something. He was out for a week, but he was fine, okay? So with Dalvin Cook, this is a tough one. And is he going to bust or is he going to trust? And I looked at the stats, and part of me wants to be like, okay, he's done what I wanted him to do, is finish a season. He's performed on an optimal level. He gets the attempts. But again, I just feel that everything has been going exactly the way it should for Dalvin Cook. It's been, Cinderella 2 seasons minus, not this past season, but the season before. He did get a little bit banged up in a couple games. I think he missed your fantasy football championships. So part of me is still a little bit bitter from the past. And I know the past is not equal to the future. We should be looking forward. And this guy has all the accolades now to make him a top 5 pick, which is understandable. But this is my personal decision. You could take my advice if you want. Is he going to bust on his ADP, or do we trust him? I'm going to say he's going to bust on his ADP. And again, this is nothing. I'm trying to keep the bias out of it, because I'm not a big Dalvin Cook fan, because he's screwed a lot of people through the years in regards to fantasy. I just don't trust him. I just feel, what goes up must come down. It's part of that, that circulation that I go through in my mind with people, having good years. And I'm pretty accurate. We saw it with Michael Thomas last year coming off a pinnacle year. We saw it with Godwin. All these guys have, Lamar Jackson, all these guys having pinnacle years. And then this year, the year after, they bust. But everybody rides them when they're hot. I think he's due for a decline. I think he's overdue for a decline. Again, if they use him more, it's going to be interesting. Man, it's going to be tough. We're going to have to take a look at the entire situation. Are they going to start feeding the ball more to Jefferson? He's a top 10 guy at wide receiver. Thielen's going to get fed. Again, that's my opinion. I think he's going to bust based on his ADP. I think he's still going to have a good year, but I think injury bug is going to come back in at some point. I can't predict injuries, but I personally don't trust him, okay? Let's move on. Second guy here, let's talk about him. The guy I'm talking about is Austin Ekeler. Now, I have to talk about this guy. He's currently sitting 7th in PPR. Now, here's what I don't like about him. The guy's never been a workhorse back. His first 11 games of his 3 years that he played, first 3 years, he started 11 games. Okay, I shouldn't say the first 11 games. The first 3 years of his career, he only started 11 games. What does that tell you? It tells you that he's probably not that good. If he was, he would have been utilized as a starter. Okay, and I know some people come out of the woodwork, and I know you got to give people a chance, and it takes people to develop, some time to develop. No, if I'm investing a first-round pick, which is probably what's going to happen with him, late first round, early second, yet again. And again, I didn't invest last year. I told you, stay away from Austin Ekeler. Yet people continue to draft Austin Ekeler, not listening to me. I got ridiculed by one of these mainstream analyst sheeps. He basically came out and said, I'm an embarrassment to the industry because I came after Austin Ekeler saying he wasn't a workhorse running back and that he isn't that good. He's like, who is this guy? He is an embarrassment to the industry, talking about me. And that guy's eating his words out. But now it's just silence. He's not saying anything, right? What a sheep this guy was. And if you guys don't know, I did a post about it, I think in my story mode or whatever, kind of calling this guy out on this. But anyway, guys, follow on Instagram, Fantasy Football Rbs. You don't want to miss anything. So again, Austin Ekeler, first 3 years of his career, only started 11 games. Finished 26th last year. I know injury was there. Again, he had 3 good weeks last year. Week 3, he had 31.3 points. Week 12 and week 14, okay? Week 12, he had 23.9 points. Week 14, 23.6. So a guy that was drafted, late first round, early second last year, a guy that was never slated as a starter, had, only 3 good games, like 3 pretty solid above average games. Again, didn't finish the season, finished 26th amongst running backs in PPR. So, again, you guys kind of see where I'm going. I will give the credit to him in regards to when he does play, sometimes he does well, good on PPR formats. And I will say that I like the Herbert connection there with him. Are they going to acquire another running back? I think so. I don't think that Ekeler is the solution for the Chargers. I think Herbert's a solution. I think that, Keenan, I think they need another wide receiver to complement Keenan. I'm not sold on Williams and the other guys. So I'm going to have to see what happens in the draft. But as of right now, I think he's going to bust. 7th, again, ranked 7th amongst running backs in PPR, ahead of a lot of other studs, which I won't even get into right now. But it's crazy. It's crazy that this guy is so valued so highly amongst the sheep. I'm not sold on him. Years to wow me, guys, and guess what? I'm not wowed. So I'm going to say he's going to bust based on that ADP. He might finish 15th, might finish 20th, might completely fall off the radar. But 7th, he's not going to finish 7th. Not at that ADP. He's going to, perform well below his ADP. That's what we mean by bust. Performing significantly below your ADP. And I consider anything over 5 spots a pretty good bust, okay? Next guy here, Saquon Barkley. Now, a lot of people ask me about Saquon Barkley. Is he going to be my first overall pick again? Probably not. Currently sitting number 2 on the Concheapsis rankings in PPR amongst running backs. So the thing with him is right now we're all holding on to that amazing year back in 2018 where he had 385.8 points. He's still young. He's 24. He's dynamic in regards to playmaking. Now, here's the thing. He tore his right ACL last year in week 2 and, sideline, big bust, a guy that was drafted number 1, 2. I drafted him first overall in one of my leagues. Very disappointed in him. Again, we are kind of going on that 2018 year at this point. The team is suspect. The wide receivers are suspect. The quarterback is suspect. And that O-line is suspect. So a lot of my decision-making on where Barkley is going to be and whether he's going to be on my roster is really predicated on this NFL draft. What are the Giants going to do? Are they going to beef up that O-line? Are they going to get a good wide receiver? Because I'm not sold on the wide receivers that are currently there. They are just not enough for the defenses to focus on and say, hey, we're going to take our mind off the run game and Saquon. We're going to focus on these wide receivers. It's not there yet. Jones, is he going to take a step up at quarterback? How's that O-line going to look? So there's a lot of question marks surrounding him. The questions that are answered is he is going to be ready from what I understand. He will be good to go. Another question that is answered is that the talent is there. I mean, there's no doubt that he is the workhorse running back and the volume will be there. So talent and volume, not an issue. You got to question durability coming off an injury yet again because we're not told yet. We don't really know enough. There's not enough statistical data and years in the league to tell us if this guy is really injury prone, right? So, he did finish 10th in 2019, which wasn't bad. Missed several games. I believe he only played like 13 games that season. So, we don't really have too much to go on other than the fact that this guy is really, really talented, strong, durable. So we think, and, capable of getting that volume. So when you look at Saquon Barkley right now, and you look at him at second, I'm still uncertain. I can't say I fully trust him, but I do see a high ceiling, and I do see a potential of this guy finishing number one amongst running backs. If I have to say it, if I had to choose bust or trust, I'm going to say that, what goes up must come down, what goes down must come up, and he is due for a big year. Completely opposite to my feelings towards Dalvin Cook, coming off amazing years, due for a decline, whereas Saquon, coming off some bad years, due for a significant incline. I'm going to say if I had to choose, and if, my back's against the wall and I had to make a decision, I'm going to say that I do trust Saquon Barkley. And again, a lot of this is predicated on the draft, and I do think that the Giants are going to make the right moves and make sure that Saquon is in good shape for the season. All right, the next guy here, bust or trust, Joe Mixon. And what's crazy about this guy is the last year he finished 49th amongst running backs, got injured, had foot injury that, really nagged, only played like 6 games. What's sad is the mainstream sheep all had him in the top 10 last year. I said stay away from Mixon. Mixon's pinnacle year was in 2018, where he peaked at a whopping 8 touchdowns and 243 points. That's his pinnacle. That's his ceiling. That's all the juice he's got. I don't see him going anymore. And you can make an argument with me and say, hey, Joe, you know what? This guy, had a pinnacle season that year, but it wasn't that pinnacle, so he's got more of a ceiling, so there's more room to grow. And, that could be a debate, but I'm not sold. I'm not sold on the talent. I'm not sold on durability. I'm not sold on the offense. Now, I do think they take a step up this year with Burrow. I like Higgins. I like this connection. I think good things are going to happen. We're going to have to see the draft. Are they going to beef up the O-line a little bit? What else are they going to do to make Mixon's job a little easier here? But again, right now, currently sitting 12th amongst running backs in PPR, ahead of guys like Josh Jacobs, who I'm not a fan of again this year as well, because he hates fantasy football, but that's a whole other topic. 12th in PPR is a little high for me, or a little bit low, right? I think he should be higher up the rankings, away from the top 10 as far as possible. I'm not sold on him. I'm going to say he's still going to bust based on his ADP. The mainstream, for some reason, just don't give it up. They kind of just stick with certain guys. It's like a popularity contest or something. I'm going to stay away from Mixon. So I'm going to say he's a bust for me and not going to be on my rosters. And again, I helped you guys dodge this bullet last year. I helped you dodge the Ekeler bullet last year. I'm going to continue sticking with that, okay? So, Joe Mixon, a bust for me. I don't trust him. Next guy's a young guy, very interesting here. It's all predicated. I haven't looked at the news. Maybe by the time of this recording, something has happened. But the guy I'm talking about is A.J. Dillon. Dillon's a guy that I think, I'm going to tell you whether I trust him or if he's going to be a bust. I think he's the guy that's going to be the workhorse. Now, here's the cool thing with Dillon. The youth, right? He was drafted in the second round. He's 6 foot, 247 pounds. So he's got all the attributes of being a workhorse. Now, here's the cool thing. He had the one game, right? And in that one game where he actually got the volume, he had 21 attempts. He rushed for 124 yards, 5.9 yards per carry, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. This is in one game we saw. It was against Tennessee. I think it was week 16, equaling 24.9 points. This is a sample size, a window, like a small window, size, vision of A.J. Dillon and his capabilities. And I do believe the Packers are going to take that game and look at the tape and are looking at his talent and saying, hey, we've got our franchise running back here, and we don't need to bring Aaron Jones back and pay him, okay? So, if Aaron Jones comes back, I haven't looked at the news here, as of the time of this recording when I released it. I don't know what happens, but I think if Aaron Jones comes back, I still think Dillon's going to be integrated a bit more as they work. If Aaron Jones gets shipped off, which I think he does, then Dillon takes a real step up. See, I'm not sold on Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams' pinnacle year, he was a 4th round pick, guys, if you remember back, I believe in 2017. His pinnacle year was, I think, in 2017. We had like 4 rushing touchdowns and 556 yards. He's not a workhorse guy. He can catch the ball in the backfield, make some special plays, come in to give Dillon a little bit of a break. But I think Dillon is the guy. Again, they drafted him in higher draft capital in the second round compared to Williams' 4th round draft capital. Williams, kind of years to wow, so we're not wowed. Dillon, I think, is going to be the guy. Currently, right now, at the time of this recording, we're talking March here, he's sitting 33rd amongst the running backs in PPR. So I think Dillon, based on that ADP, and even if he goes up to top 20, I think I can trust him. I'm going to go with trust on him because, again, I think he's going to be the workhorse guy. I think there's talent. I think there's opportunity here for A.J. Dillon. So I'm going to go for trust and upside there. And I think you get him for great value in your drafts. And again, when Jones gets traded off, Dillon's value is going to skyrocket. How high, we don't know. I still think you can get him after the 4th round, at a minimum. Again, that's predicated on a lot of hype surrounding him, a lot of information saying that he's going to be the starter. I still think even with that, you could probably get him. Maybe, he'll go as high as, maybe if the hype gets high, he might go in the 2nd round. Who knows? But I still think he's a guy you definitely want to roster. We don't know. It's very early to tell, but I'm keeping my eyes on Dillon this offseason to see what happens with the Packers because I see a ton of upside. I see a ton of goal line work. I'm seeing 10 touchdowns minimum. I'm seeing at least a floor of 800 yards. I like Dillon as a solid RB2 with upside. Love him, okay? So there you have it, guys. 5 running backs, bust your trust. In the comments, engage. Please leave a thumbs up. It helps the channel, but in the comments, engage. Let me know what you guys think. I appreciate it. And of course, guys, subscribe. Lots of great videos coming your way. Fantasy football will be here before we know it. And finally, head on over to manscaped.com and go use promo code SHOWERLION. Get yourself some amazing products, guys. I'm out. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I know I did. Thanks for being here. We'll talk soon, guys. I'm out.